Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tonight, inshallah, we do page 15 from the Medina Arabic course, book 1. It is our 6th lesson thus far. And even though in reality, we're probably still busy only with the, we are busy only with the 3rd lesson as far as the book itself is concerned. Now, last week we had come on page 14 and we were learning about definite and indefinite nouns. The usage of, for example, baytun being an indefinite noun. A house can be any house at all, or al baytu, the house, a specific house. It's a definite article noun that we are speaking about. So al baytu, we learned about how when you have a word being in its default form, it would standardly have dhammatain. And when letters such as alif and lam, because alif and lam and dham and tanween cannot exist at the same time on a word, therefore alif and lam wins and the tanween will fall away. As a result, baytun became al baytu and so on and so forth. So that's what we had done in our previous lesson. Now we're doing year from year tonight, inshallah, tamarinu, exercises. So we've got a number of exercises over here, and I hope that at least there'll be somebody who's willing to contribute to the exercises and give the answers as we move along, so that you can grow yourself as we move. So anyway, let us begin without further delay. Tamarinu. Tamarinu. If you hear me saying it, it's not a typo, at least, or a voice or a mistake that I'm saying here. It's not tamarinun, despite the fact that there's no alif and lam. The reason for this, we will learn at a later stage, so that is why I'm not mentioning it now. Otherwise, it may be a source of confusion. But for now, just remember, tamrinun, exercise in the singular form, but the plural form of this word will be tamarinu without tanween. This particular word does not get tanween. The reasons for it, I could give it now, but like I say, I don't want to unnecessarily confuse you with a higher level lesson when we are still busy with the basics. So this first exercise is اقرأ واكتب مع ضبط أواخر الكلمات. Read and write while putting in, or at least in our case here, while pronouncing the endings of the letters correctly. So for example, I'll just do the first few so you have an idea. Masjid, if you look over here, he's taken the harakat, many of the harakat off, but primarily the haraka on the last letter of each word, he has taken that off. Now, anyone who's listening, you're more than welcome to already start giving the answers. You just type it in and send it through so long in the meantime. For example, I'll just give the first two and then you can continue. So masjidun, number 2, al masjidu, and so on and so forth. Now it's up to you to give the remainder. So, in fact, this was just relating to a question which was asked just earlier on WhatsApp, that what is the need for, or at least is it important to stick to the masjidun, qamarun, al-qamaru, and stuff of this nature here. So you see here, the purpose of the exercise, the only thing he is actually doing is testing you on the haraka of the last letter of the word. So whether you're going to say masjid, masjidu, masjidun, anything of the sort like this here, if you give the wrong answer, if you say masjid, in the context of our lesson, you will be making a mistake, because obviously there's no sakin on that letter. There's a haraka on there. But what haraka is it? That's what your exercise is to be, to give what that haraka is. So in the case here, masjid, masjid, and the dal is empty. So masjidun. Why? Because by default, the word has a dhammatain on it, and there's nothing affecting this word to change it from that dhammatain. Therefore, masjidun, a masjid, is what this word is. The next one is al masjidu, the masjid. Why? Because of the alif and lam on the word, and the alif and lam prevents tanween. So we won't say al masjidi, al masjida, because there's nothing to change the haraka from a dhamma. So therefore, dhammatain becomes single dhamma, masjidun, al masjidun, al masjidu. That's how it goes. So that's how it goes. Anyway, the third one, which is here, al-ma'u and ma'un, 100%, both of them are correct. Next one, okay, another person as well, al-ma'u and ma'un, both of it 100% correct. Following up from that one comes the word albeit, and I'll read it as albeit. It's up to you to say how it should be, how that ending should be pronounced. So obviously you transliterate it accordingly to what it should be. Okay, if there's a delay, then I will give the answers from my side so that we can move a little bit at a faster pace. But okay, the answer given is albeitu correct, babun correct. It's obviously I know it's a lot to just throw it on you and just say give the answers all like this, so one after the other. So I shouldn't go also so fast that you can't keep up, because again at the end of the day, okay, is the audio cutting out for anybody else? If anybody can confirm whether the audio is cutting out on my side or whether it is something affecting from an individual basis. Okay, no confirmation with regards to the, okay, audio is fine. All right, then in that case, it's from an individual basis. I don't know what it must be. All right, any case, so qalamun, correct. Qalamun, al-qalamu, okay, also correct. 100%. Al-qalamu is right. Then next one we come to al-kalbu, that's right. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words left. Then we'll end this one. Kalb, kalb. Okay, if I was saying kalb, it's one thing, but from your side, yes, kalbun. Kalbun, dhammatain on it because there's no alif and lam. So kalbun, a dog. Next one, kamisun, 100%. We're now coming to the end of the last 7 words. The way that exercise is actually a very simple one because he leaves the harakat on the beginning letters. He only takes it off on the ending. So if you have just comprehended how the definite and indefinite particle works, then the rest of this is all child's play. So okay, waladun, that's correct. Let us look at the next one. Al-hajar. The word is al-hajar as I will pronounce it. So you already know how to pronounce the first 2 letters. So therefore, because of alif and lam, you know that the last letter can't have tanween on it. But you know by default the word should have dhammatain. So therefore, tanween falls away and yes, it becomes al-hajaru. Next one. This word I won't read out because it's one of the few words in this lesson that he has left all the harakat off. Why? Because we did the word just so short while ago. So therefore, you should know how to pronounce this word because you've read him a moment ago. So you should know what it is. So you can't have read him and then forget him when you just move forward a tiny little bit further. So he's testing you on your ability, your memory that you did the word, so you can't forget it. Okay, al-waladu, that's correct. Himarun, that's also correct, the next one. Now we've got the last 3 words. Last 3 nouns. Going once, going twice. Al-himaru, that's correct. Last 2 now. Al-hisanu, correct. And, okay, al-hisanu is correct. Last word for this exercise. Hisanun, 100%. So you can see, it wasn't a pointless exercise. Maybe you were aware your knowledge of Arabic is already beyond this. So this was like a walk in the park for you. But if not, then this was, at the very least, it was a revision exercise for you. So you have successfully learned the ability, or at least you've successfully revised or learned, depending on what your level is, how to use a definite and indefinite noun and how that affects the ending of the letters, because that is what Arabic is all about, the endings of the letters which change. So that was exercise number 1. Now we move on to exercise number 2, which is Iqra waktub, read and write. So in this case here, exactly the same exercise as before, except it's just stepped it up a little bit. So here, where we in the previous one, we did individual words. Now we're doing 2-word, 3-word, 4-word sentences. And in this case here, he's taken all of the harakat off. So therefore, you got to know what is going on here in order to give the or at least to be able to transliterate it or translate it, depending on which one you are doing. And okay, I assume that from the previous words that we have done, that everybody has kept up to date with the meanings. Obviously, it's a little bit difficult on the internet when you are delayed by bad audio and stuff like this here, so it makes it difficult to keep up with what is what. But if you have if at any time we pass a word and you're unsure about it, ask again, just so that you know you are up to date with what the words mean. But yeah. Oh, and if somebody can just confirm whether the sound quality is up to scratch or not, just so I know that we're not speaking here and the thing is cutting off in bad pieces. Okay, sound is good. All right, that's good. Now, so اقرأ واكتب. I'll read the first 1, 2 or so, and then you can take from there. So number 1, he puts the 2 words over here. Now you've done both of them. You've done it in a sentence, so you know it's nothing new. All right. Number 1, al-maktabu maksurun. Al-maktabu maksurun. The desk is broken. Okay, the audio is cutting out. I don't know what can be the cause of that. Only thing, what I would ask a question, at least in this regard here, is how are you connecting to the internet? Are you connecting via fiber internet? Are you connecting via LTE? Are you connecting via one of the 3G modems? Because yeah, the method that you connect to the internet can have a role to play in it. Okay, fiber Wi-Fi shouldn't be an issue. I know when I tried attending a class on WYSIC many years ago, I could not attend the class because my ADSL was too slow, and when I put in my 3G modem, the sound was cut like that, and it turned out that it was because of the 3G that was not being supported properly through WYSIC, and that's why the problem happened. But I'm using fiber Wi-Fi, so if you're using fiber Wi-Fi, there shouldn't be a problem. So then there may be some other issue that's causing this. All right, anyway, so al-maktabu maksurun. I'll read and translate. If you are able to translate, well and good, and you know, you can, it's up to you. Like I say, don't wait until we reach there. You can send it in as the class goes on with either the transliteration or the translation of any particular sentence over here. In fact, if you want to do the last one of these 10, you can already type it in and send it now. You don't have to necessarily even be in order. Just write 10, for example, and I'll give him anyway, al-mindilu nadifun, or and you can do it like that, or 10, the handkerchief is clean, for example. It's up to you. The whole point is that you are able to look at these words here, that you are able to pronounce it correctly, because there are no harakat on it. So you must have memorized the words in your subconscious level enough to be able to recognize them. That you're not going to be reading al-mitabu muksaura or some weird thing of the sort like this. You must be able to recognize it. Al-maktabu maksurun. The desk is broken. Number 2, al-mudarrisu jadidun. You're not going to be thinking what is this, al-madrasu, or how did, no, al-mudarrisu jadidun. The teacher is new. Since the answers are coming a little bit slow because of the bad Wi-Fi coverage, so therefore I'll go ahead and give a few more. Number 3, al-qamisu wasikhun. The shirt is dirty. Number 4, al-labanu baridun. The milk is cold. Number 5, al-masjidu maftuhun. The masjid is open. Number 6, Al-Hajaru Kabirun. The stone is big. I'm going to leave number 9 empty. So, we are only in number 6 now. It gives you enough time for, hopefully, from me doing number 7 and 8, for you to be able to give someone give the transliteration for number 9. And if somebody can give the translation for number 9 as well. Okay, so moving on. Number 7. Number 7. Al-labanu baridun wal ma'u harrun. The milk is cold and the water is hot. Number 8. Al-imamu jalisun wal mudarrisu waqifun. The imam is sitting and the teacher is standing. That was number 8. All right, we've reached number 9. Nobody sent in the answer, so let me go ahead with it anyway. Al-qamaru ba'idun. The moon is far. And lastly, number 10, which I did do earlier, al-mindilu nadhifun. The handkerchief is clean. All right, the audio cut out. Okay. Any case, so we have just reached the number 10 now, al-mindilu nadhifun, that the handkerchief is clean. The previous words, it's all words that you do know. It was part of an exercise in any case, so you should be able to read him correctly and translate it obviously, because it's nothing new from what we have done before. Any case, let's move on. Now we come to our next exercise. Exercise number 3. It says, إملأ الفراغ فيما يلي بوضع الكلمة المناسبة من الكلمات التالية. He says, إملأ الفراغ فيما يلي. Fill in the blank spaces which follow by بوضع الكلمة المناسبة, by placing the appropriate word من الكلمات التالية, from the following words. So he's giving you here 6 words and 6 half sentences. So you have the choice. It obviously, like with anything, you have multiple choice options. However, each word can only be used once. So use them carefully. If you put him in the wrong place, you're not going to be able to use him again a second time. So you need to have an idea of what the various words mean. So let me give you just the words. Your first word, jamilun, beautiful. Number 2, wasikhun, dirty. Number 3, maftuhun, open. Number 4, harrun, hot. 5, thaqilun, heavy. Lastly, number 6, khafifun, meaning light. Now here, these are your min al kalimat Italia, your following words that he spoke of. Now here is or at least they were the kalimatil munasiba. Now and now we come to the al faragh, the faragh, the emptiness, the blank space, which is al hajaru, the stone. Now something about the stone. I'll give you the first one. So let's say you could say al hajaru jamilun. The stone is beautiful. I like that stone. It looks so nice. It's so shiny like this. I want to just collect it and put it on my shelf. Some people do collect stones anyway. But anyway, I'm not a stone collector. But what I mean is, it's a valid sentence to say that al hajaru jamilun. But is it the most appropriate choice here? Yes or no? Number 2, wasikhun. Al-hajar wasikhun. The stone is dirty. Well, yeah, I suppose if you threw some dirt over it, the stone would be dirty. Al-hajaru maftuhun. Open sesame, and the stone opens and you can go inside. So the stone is open. You could even get away with that. Al-hajaru harun. The stone is hot because obviously you've been cooking him in the oven and now it's hot. Al-hajaru thaqilun. The stone is heavy. Well, so far, that's the best foot. And then lastly, al-hajaru khafifun, the stone is light. Well, for some people it may be light and for some people it may be heavy. But here you can see that the al-hajaru thaqilun being the best, the most appropriate of the 6 words given, the most appropriate one is thaqilun. So yes, the answer which was given, that al-hajaru thaqilun, that is indeed the correct answer. So therefore, al-hajaru thaqilun. Now we scratch thaqilun out. So now we are left with 5 words only. Number 2, which is al-babu. And the answer which was given is al-babu maftuhun. The door is open. Yes, that is the most correct of the words which were given. So therefore, we scratch maftuhun off the list. So now we are sitting with 4 words. Jamilun, wasikhun, harun, and khafifun. We come to our third sentence now. Al-qamaru, the moon. And the answer which was given over here is al-qamaru jamilun, the moon is beautiful. And yes, this is the most correct of the answers. So therefore, we scratch jamilun also off the list. Now we're sitting with the last three words to build up our sentences. You don't have much choices left. You've only got wasikhun, you've only got harun, and you've only got khafifun. Now, you see, the only time it becomes difficult to give the answer to these words is when you don't remember your vocab. So if you are struggling, you are thinking, okay, maybe you know wasikhun means dirty, harun means hot, and khafifun means light. But now you don't remember what does al-waraqu, al-mindilu, and al-labanu, what do these words mean? So therefore, you are, doubting which one do I put where. But anyway, answer which is given is correct here, that al-waraqu khafifun, the paper is light. So al-waraqu, the page of paper, whichever one you prefer to call it, it is light. Khafifun meaning light. So al-waraqu khafifun. We've got now our last two, number 5 and number 6 of this exercise to end of page number 15. So anybody want to go ahead and give the answer to number 5, al-mindilu? Not mandilu, not man with a fatha, but mindilu with a kasra. One of the shuyukh that I had done al-hadith al-musalsal bil-awwaliya and at the Tuhfat al-Atfal and Muqaddimat al-Jazariya, his name was Sheikh Mandil ibn Muhammad al-Qana'i al-Faqih. So his name was Mandil with a fatha on, but here we are dealing with Mindil. So yes, al-Mindilu wasikhun. That's the correct answer. The al-Mindilu wasikhun. So we've scratched wasikhun off the list. Now, obviously, we've only got the word al-labanu, and there is only one last word that you can put into this blank space. So therefore, I'll put him in anyway. Al-labanu, the only word we had left out was harun. So therefore, al-labanu harun, the milk is hot. And with that being that, exercise page number, okay, and there the answer was given as well. Al-labanu harun, that the milk is hot. With that being said, page number 15 is finished, but we're going to push forward and see how much of the next page we can do, because if we can at least finish till the end of this square rectangular block here, it would be good. So let's see how much we can do it anyway. So number 4 says, exercise number 4. املأ الفراغ فيما يلي بوضع كلمة مناسبة. بوضع كلمة مناسبة if you're reading with tajweed. So fill in the blank space in what follows by putting in the appropriate word. Now here is not giving you the words. Here you must draw from memory a word to put in over here. And where previously he gave you the first part of a sentence, this time he's giving you the last part of a sentence. So you need to choose anything from your memory. You can use a word multiple times over in this exercise. It does not matter. So I will do the first two for you, and you can work from number 3 onwards. So number 1, blank space where you must put the word nadifun, meaning clean. So we can say al-qamisu nadifun, the shirt is clean. Al-hajaru nadifun, the stone is clean. Al-babu nadifun, the door is clean. You can take your pick of which word. Al-maktabu nadifun, the desk is clean. Whichever one suits your fancy, it works all in this situation here. So okay, one which is given al-mindilu nadhifun, 100%. The handkerchief is clean. Number 2 is the word maksurun. So you're going to use a word in the context of maksurun. Maksurun meaning broken. So something is broken. Al-qalamu maksurun, 100%. Now, like I say, you have absolutely no problem if you just reuse the sentences which we have done in the lesson before, or if you want to make up your own word, something which we have not done before, that too is also fine. So al-qalamu maksurun, the pen is broken, 100% correct. Number 3, we have a blank space here. This time we're using the word baridun. Baridun meaning cold. So something is cold. So if you were to say, for example, from your side, maybe you happen to have a bigger vocab, so you say al-jawu baridun, the weather is cold. For example, then you know where you're coming from. Okay, one which is given here, al-mudarrisu baridun, the teacher is cold. I suppose you can get away with that. not exactly. Yeah, I suppose you can get away with it. Al-mudarrisu barizun, it's not really used in that sense that often, because what we're doing, we're thinking in English. And this is one thing which, inshallah, as you move forward in your Arabic, you will learn to, or at least you'll grow out of it. We are working on training wheels. We think in English and then we translate that over into Arabic, which is why our sentences tend to come out as translated sentences as opposed to fluid flowing sentences. It takes a while. It takes you know depth of the language to be able to use the correct words in the appropriate contexts. Even in English, you'll find people and they're using a word and an idiom in a place where it don't belong. So the same will apply here in Arabic. But anyway, we'll do that again. Okay, that was al-labanu baridun. The milk is cold, 100%. Okay, our next word, number 4, was the word qaribun. Qariban, qariba, we are dealing with the word qaribun. Qaribun meaning near. So al-mautu qaribun, 100% correct. Good one there. So we haven't done the word maut. Maut meaning death. So the death is near. So and the answer which was given above it, Al-Nasaru Qaribun, which should be An-Nasru Qaribun, the help is near. Ala inna Nasrallahi Qarib. The Nasrullahi Qaribun. So, okay. The An-Nasru Qaribun would work fine, that the help is coming. And Al-Masjidu Qaribun, the masjid is near. That's also very good. And for plasmids Qaribun, I don't know what a plasmid is, but okay, I don't know what a plasmid is, but anyway, number 5, al-baytu ba'idun, 100% correct. The house is far. Okay, that was the number 5. Now we're coming to number 6, which is something to do with waqifun. Something is standing. Waqifun meaning standing. You're obviously now in a situation like this here. Okay, 1 point. You wrote as waqifun, which may be just a typo, but it's yes, correct. Waqifun, because the double Q indicates at least a shadda, which should not be there. But anyway, so al burju. Burj meaning what? Are you talking about the Burj al Khalifa over here, or which one? You see, while a sentence may make sense to us from an English perspective, it does not necessarily mean that that is the correct way to use the word from an Arabic perspective. So let's say, for example, you are talking about the وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ. Buruj, the sky which is filled with stars. So you're taking the word Burj in this context over here. So that's why I asked whether you're referring to Burj Al Khalifa or whether you're referring to the literal meaning of the word Burj. So if you're taking the word Al Burj, Waqifun, it's the star or the planet is standing. The Buruj don't mean a tower, so obviously here we would take it as a name as opposed to as a literal meaning of the word. Okay, so anyway, so Waqifun meaning standing. So the tower, the Burj Al Khalifa is standing. Hopefully, it falls down also uh, and be destroyed. But anyway, so you work on something which is naturally standing. You wouldn't say, for example, Al Hajar Waqifun, the stone is standing, because stones don't stand. Yeah, we could find some way to work around it to make it seem as though you are using it in a figurative sense. There's a stone and it's standing like this, but it's not a proper, meaningful sentence, to put it that way. All right, moving on. That was number 6. So we've got 7, 8, 9, and 10. And the Al-mudarrisu jalisun, 100% correct. That's for number 7. Now, one which was given over here for number 10, an answer given in advance, which is al-kitabu, which is spelled with a typo at least over here because it's written al-kitabu jadidun. It should be al-kitabu jadidun. Jadidun, two dals, not two jims. So al-kitabu jadidun, yes, 100% correct. So the what you call this thing now, the book is new. Number 8, we were dealing with the word kabirun is big. So al-babu kabirun, the door is big, yes, 100%. Al-qittu kabirun, also 100% correct. So when we're not talking about kitty cats, so we don't use the just for the transliteration perspective, we at least I prefer to use a Q for a qaf as opposed to a kaf, because that way we will know that we are pronouncing the letter correctly. We're going to be saying qittu and not kittu, you know, just for that from that angle. But anyway, yes, al-qittu kabirun, 100% correct. And number 9, which was given, is al-masjidu qadimun. The masjid is old. And that is 100% correct. And then we'll come back to number 10, the answer which was given earlier, al-kitabu jadidun, that the book is new. And another answer given for number 9, ar-rajulu qadimun, the man is old. So yes, all the answers given here, very good. Yeah, you've understood the lesson. You see, you may not think anything necessarily about it, but what you have done here, you have pulled from your memory, or maybe you had your vocab book in front of you, whatever the case may be, but you have successfully taken a word, nadifun, baridun, so on and so forth, these words, without any harakat on them. You've known how to put them at the ending of a sentence, and you drew from your memory or your book or your whatever, but you were able to draw a word and put it in this blank space and make it into a meaningful sentence. So, you know, it is something that it's another step in the right direction on your journey towards learning Arabic, towards understanding Arabic. So that was the end of exercise number 4. Our time is running out shortly, so therefore let's just do this portion over here before the time runs out fully. So he says al-kalimatul jadidatu. In case some people think it's al-kamat. Al-kalimatu, the lam is there. Al-kalimatul jadidatu, the new words. Kalimat is words, plural. Al-kalimatul jadidatu. Don't delve too deeply in it. We haven't learned feminine forms as of yet. But anyway, these words that are contained within this block are all the words which we have done previously. So there's nothing here which is new, but I'll just run through them quickly. Al-qamaru, the moon. Jadidun, new. Qadimun, old. Wasikhun, dirty. Nadifun, clean. Harun, hot. Baridun, cold. Saghirun, small. Kabirun, big. Maftuhun, open. Maksurun, broken. Thaqilun, heavy. Khafifun, light. Jamilun, beautiful. Waqifun, standing. Jalisun, sitting. These are all the words which you have done, which you do know, which you have used above. So he's just putting it in one central place for you, that these are the words from the lesson that you have learned that you can now just copy from here to put in your vocab book. We've got this last one piece here, so I'm going to do just this here before our time runs out. So this leads us now into the next facet and aspect of our lesson itself. So it's what's leading up to the big lesson coming up ahead. So I'll just read it. Just bear with me and focus on what's being said. Najmun, a star. An-najmu, the star. Rajulun, a man. Ar-rajulu, the man. Dikun, a rooster. Ad-diku, the rooster. Talibun, a student. At-talibu, the student. So what have we done over here? What is different from this, from the ones which we have done previously? Previously, what we were doing is, for example, al-qamaru, where the lam is pronounced. But in these ones here, the lam is not pronounced. We're not saying al-najmu. We're not saying al-diku. We're not saying al-rajulu. We're not saying al-talibu. If you said it that way, you have made a mistake. The word is not read in that manner. That is why you see these ones have each one got a shadda on the noon, on the dal, on the ta, on the ra, them, to show that you are joining straight over. An-najmu, ad-diku, ar-rajulu, at-talibu. Why is this way? That's what is leading up into our next class. So we'll do this bit, we'll do some exercise, we'll do another exercise, and then we'll come to the actual reason behind why words are read in this manner. So I'm not going to jump the gun and give it to you now. We'll probably end up doing 2 full classes before we're going to reach that point there, or at least 1 full class, and the class after that will lead us to that point. So for now, let's just take things one step at a time. Keep in mind what we have done here. Don't apply it across the board to the words which we have done before, because everything which we have done before were to be read the way they were read. Now he's touching on certain words which we did not do in this format at least before. So an-najmu was an-najmu before, and it's an-najmu now as well. And likewise ar-rajulu, ad-diku, at-talibu, so on and so forth. So in the question which we had done just earlier, if you remember, we had done here number 4, qaribun, and one of the answers given was al-nasru qaribun, and this is where what directly links to this lesson over here, to show that we would not be saying al-nasru, we would be saying an-nasru, an-nasru qaribun. So anyway, we will do that in due course, inshallah. But for now, just take what we have done, focus on it, consolidate what you have learned, jot down your new vocab. Keep in mind that certain words will be pronounced with the lam, and certain ones are pronounced without the lam, like an-najmu, ad-diku, and them. And it's not to do with the individual word, like an-najmu, but rather because it's a noon, you know, any noon which have alif and lam on it, you won't pronounce the lam, you'll always pronounce the noon, like in the example of an-nasru. But anyway, let's not go too deep on a lesson which we have not come to yet. Anyway, so that was the end of page 16. In our next class, inshallah ta'ala, we start from the beginning of page 17, and we'll continue on this exercise here from an-najmu ba'idun, and from that point onwards, inshallah, we have a couple more, 1, 2, 3 exercises, and then inshallah we can reach the actual lesson. But obviously our time is just about elapsed. We've got to about a minute left before we get cut off, so therefore if there are no questions, we will end on this point here, inshallah. So if anybody has any questions, you can quickly ask it before the time runs out. Otherwise, like I say, we'll end on this point. Next week, Wednesday, inshallah, we will continue on from this point here. So if you do have the time and you do have the book and you are able to have a look at it, then do have a look at it, so that by when next week comes, then you are, you know, you don't have to think too long about it, because you are on the ball as to what means what. But anyway, if not, then so be it, and we'll do it in class when the time comes. But for now, we end on this point here, since there have been no questions. Until next time, وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.